Hey guys, so today I finally have a little bit of time, so I am going to attempt to try and install this intercooler surround to the GTR R33, but before we do so, you can tell I don't have much room. I need to move her further back, possibly maybe even just get her halfway out of the garage. The thing is, it's 95 degrees out today and it's very muggy. It also just rained, so a lot of that moisture it's really coming up, and I'm surprised this this camera isn't kind of getting foggy. Just in case, how to do that. So what this is just to kind of explain it real quickly. The intercooler right now is pretty bare, and you'll see it in a little bit when I show it in detail. A lot of the air that's supposed to be going to the intercooler, a lot of it might be going around it, path of least resistance, right? So I'm just afraid that my intake temps might be higher than it should. So installing this intercooler surround should direct more of the air towards the intercooler than around it. So like I said, let's get this car backed up, get some room. And I know that we might have to lift up the car, maybe even remove the bumper. And I know we're going to be doing some cutting from this guy, because that is a 4-inch intercooler, and this guy was meant for stock size intercooler. So let's get going. So as you guys can see, what I was talking about earlier is that a lot of the air are kind of passing through here and through there. So what that intercooler surround is supposed to do, it's close off this area that is open, so I can get the direct air on the IC. Now, like I was saying earlier, that IC really is for a stock intercooler. And it's the intercooler that I have at this point is 4 inches, and it goes further towards the front than the old stock intercooler, which is further back. So this right here, the bottom is gonna probably most likely gonna stay, because the intercooler is up high, and it could kind of slide right through from what I'm seeing. The problem is this piece right here needs to be cut. Let me just this piece right here needs to be cut to accommodate this extra depth, or it being further in. I need to cut this to make room so that it can fit flush, and this right here would sit closer to here. Then at that point I need to drill some holes. For that, I'm not quite sure what to use on that yet. I'm assuming probably maybe push pins, but I don't know if I want to use bolts, because it will show unless I use flathead or something that's a little bit less visible. So anyway, I need to do some measuring and figure out how much I need to cut. still have that mask on, but it kind of felt like I was under a whole lot of dust. Well, from the way it looks like it's not even close as far as having a gap there on either side, but it's probably better than nothing though. So you're gonna have to excuse me. I'm eventually going to replace this. It's all beat up. That's how I got it from the previous owner. This is a Blitz intercooler, a 4-inch intercooler, and I am going to probably most likely, just to avoid from having to do any kind of refitting or repiping, I'm going to buy the same Blitz intercooler and just replace it with this one. I don't think this is something that you can kind of fix, even if you did bring it to a radiator shop. But anyway, so as far as this intercooler shroud, it's way too short. So, well, I did as much cutting as I could. I know it's pretty raw. It's not really straight, but I just really did that just to see where it's gonna fall. So I think at this point, you see how it's not really made well, and there's a gap. So what I'm gonna do, just to kind of salvage this, I'm just going to cut it here and here, just so that I can at least get the bottom portion closed off. Okay, so what I've done so far here is kind of just cut these pieces off, and this will be eventually sanded and finished and painted. But at this point, I just wanted to just cover the bottom part at least and salvage the piece that I just bought, which is the intercooler surround. Turned out it didn't work so well, so it didn't fit so well, I should say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fasten it there. I've already marked the points to which I need to drill so that I can fasten it with these. It's not going to look as nice because it's going to be just bolts on there. Maybe somehow eventually get a nice flat head to kind of make it look invisible, make it look a little smooth, and maybe get it same color, just black for now. I might have to put spacers on here just so that I can have this raised as opposed to it flopping down like this, kind of up that way, pressing up against the IC. Hopefully this will kind of help direct a little bit more air into the IC and not lose so much with this being open right here. So anyway, yep, it is a temporary fix. So for those of you that are saying, hey, you're jerry-rigging your car, well, not much I can do for now because I can't afford to do any more. Otherwise, I would have this extended, that extended, and this piece also extended so that it forms to the IC much better. But yeah, anyway, let's drill those holes and see if it mounts. Okay, so kind of finished up the little project that I have. So that's the end goal. This is just temporary at this point, and like I said, this is all going to be finished off. I wish it ran longer, but I didn't have enough material from the piece that I had bought. So this is a furniture bolt, but this is kind of like the flat head that I'm looking to put in. I just need to find the nut that threads properly to this, and then I will use that instead, so it's not as high as this is. So at this point, this is the way I would like it. It's kind of fitting flush, right in line with the splitter or the front spoiler. Like I said, just need to sand this off and finish it and get this thing painted. As soon as I get this done, this should look a little better and should direct a little bit more air into the IC. So I did have to use washers, by the way, not washers, spacers underneath this to raise it up a bit so that this piece doesn't slide down to the IC. I only had a spacer that I had for this side. I did use nuts, which kind of worked out to be the same height as the spacer on this side, just temporarily. Basically, just grabbed a couple of these, and it worked just fine. So fast forward, I was able to go to the local hardware store and pick up the spacers that I needed and the nuts to be able to use for these flathead bolts that I had found. It's better than the ones that have the tall heads. It looks clunky, doesn't look as flush. I would like it to look a little better, considering that this is a part that I just salvaged from the piece that I had bought, and it didn't really work too right, as you guys saw. But hopefully it'll do the job temporarily to route more air into the IC as opposed to it going underneath it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to see an opening there. You know, that kind of bugged me for a while. Just looking at the tabs on the spoiler. There is an option that I do have, which is, well, I eventually plan on making good power with this car and changing the IC from 4-inch to maybe 5-inch, and that'll bring the IC further back out, so I may not need to do much as far as doing anything more on the sides. That should be able to maybe kind of fill it, hopefully. Well, anyway, so hopefully you guys are seeing this, because I had to even bring out the spotlight just to make sure. My lighting in this garage like really sucks. Eventually I'm going to need to kind of upgrade it, but hopefully you guys found this video good and helped you out a little bit. If you have any comments, just comment down below and let me know what you guys think. Alright, thanks.